I'm about to drop something that is probably the oldest trick in the book, but something that not a lot of people do, or certainly don't realise how powerful they are. Something that absolutely changed my mind was... Hello guys, how are we? For those of you new here, I'm a psychology student trained to be a therapist, so on this channel we talk about positivity, mindset, well-being, mental health and all things like that. So if that sounds of interest, stick around. You're not unhappy, you're just unproductive. Now, I'm not normally someone who likes to go around telling people how they feel, because that obviously makes you look like a bit of a dick most of the time. But what I wanted to do in this video is more talk about the reframing in your mind and actually being able to identify how you're feeling. Because on a slight tangent, emotions in terms of the boring sciencey side of things are actually very rarely binary. It's often our brain trying to make sense of a physiological feeling that we feel. So it's in our body rather than our mind. So often our emotions are actually our brain guessing what's happening. It doesn't actually necessarily know whether you're in a good or bad mood. And sometimes I think we all have these days where you're sat there and you feel like you're just in a bad mood for no reason, and because of that you end up not doing anything. You end up just doing laps of your house or whatever, and sometimes you just have to force yourself to go on a walk, or you might just end up sitting in front of the TV or playing video games all day, and you don't understand why your mood's just getting worse and worse. And like I say, that's likely because you're not unhappy, you're being unproductive and your brain doesn't like it. You just can't tell the difference. One of the modules I'm studying at the moment is sort of a personality module, and they talk about these people. They gave it some awful acronym that I can't remember what it was, but it's basically high IQ but lazy. And Caleb Jones talks a lot about, if you know who that is, talks a lot about these kind of people. And they are well known to basically be the most unhappy people in the world. And the reason is, it's these people that are very bright, which often leads you to be very ambitious, but it also often leads you to have a lot of very, very good ideas. I'm guessing if you're watching channels like this, you are either someone like that or friends with people like that, who every little thing that comes up, they're like, oh, that could be done better, that could be done better. Oh, actually, I've seen that and that's given me an idea, or something like that. And they're always thinking, they're switched on people. But we talked about this the other week on a different video, but they're the people who do all the talking and they never actually put any ideas into action. So hence high IQ but lazy. And because they're having all these brilliant ideas, and again, they are normally good ideas these people are having because they are intelligent, but because they're having these ideas and doing nothing about it, rather than just a normal person who sort of strolls through life and doesn't have the ideas, the fact that they've had them and they're not implementing them without even doing anything makes them feel like a failure, or if nothing else, unproductive, which is what is basically subconsciously putting them in a bad mood. Now, this is not me coming on here to talk about how I've got a high IQ. I have no idea what my IQ is. I've never had it tested. Looking at my grades, I wouldn't say it's particularly high, but I certainly do know what it is to be someone who is sort of very ambitious, but also has a lot of ideas and thinks about things. Maybe my ideas aren't necessarily the best, hence the IQ thing, but hence starting this YouTube channel. I've got an Instagram page, I've written a couple of podcasts that I want to start and everything like that. I am someone who sort of has these ideas, and I wanted to start a YouTube channel. Again, I've talked about this before. I wanted to start a YouTube channel for years before I actually did it, and there was a lot of times where I just felt in a bad mood, and like we all have bad moods, but you, like I said earlier, sort of you're sat there and you're just like, nothing's wrong, but internally your subconscious is screaming at you that you're in a bad mood and you don't understand why. And I certainly find this where I've almost got to the point, I'm trying to get better because I went too far the other way, but I almost got to the point where I couldn't relax. It was sort of like, if I was having a conversation with someone, in the back of my head I was going, I could be listening to a podcast right now. I could be doing something better with my time. And it was just getting ridiculous. And in the end, that sort of overwhelming of ideas led me to completely procrastinate, which is still a problem I'm struggling with and trying to overcome. But again, because of that, just made me unbelievably unproductive. And I do still now, if I get to the end of Sunday evening, because obviously Monday to Friday I've got university, I've got work and things like that. The weekends are very much my own if I don't have any social events or anything like that going on. And there are times where I've got to the end of Sunday and I haven't even had a bad day, but I've gone, I could have done more with that day. And I put myself in a bad mood for absolutely no reason. And I wanted to talk about that because I can imagine it's something that a lot of you guys, like I say, struggle with, whether you consider yourself a particularly intelligent person or not. If you're watching videos like this and if you're taking your spare time to follow self-development channels on YouTube, you are clearly someone who at least thinks about things and does more than the average person and probably is quite ambitious. So I'm guessing that you have things like this where you're sat there and you're like, I don't know why I'm in a bad mood, but I am. So I wanted to sort of maybe try and help with that a little bit today. So with the aim of this video being more about helping you be happier, like I say, on this channel, I'll talk about subjects that other people will talk about, but I always try and come at them from the either well-being or psychology angle and how you can change your mind and things like that. So I'm about to drop something that is probably the oldest trick in the book, but something that not a lot of people do, or certainly don't realise how powerful they are. Something that absolutely changed my mind was to-do lists. And that's not an app in your phone, that's not like, oh, I'll remember that, or like, I am talking about physically writing down things that you want to accomplish either by the time you go to bed that night or by the Sunday night of that week. If you, like you guys know, if you follow my Instagram, I've got my whiteboard up there, and it is just this physical process of going through and ticking off, and I mean the smallest of things. So genuinely, sometimes if I get up and do something in my day that I didn't even realise I had to do, even after I've done it, I'll write it on my to-do list and tick it off, because I can look back at the end of the day and go, do you know what, that is something that I still got done. And it's one of the oldest sayings in the world that I think it's something like idle time does the devil's work. And that is because how often do you spend all week going, oh, I've got so much to do, no time to do it. And then it gets to, yeah, maybe Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon, and you've actually got 3 hours where you have nowhere to be, nothing to do, and you sat there and your brain gone. You cannot think of a single thing that you need to get done. Then as soon as you wake up Monday morning, you're going back to work, you go, oh, I could have done this, and this. That is where these to-do lists come in so well. And again, like I say, I'm not pretending I've invented anything new here. Like, I'm sure loads of people do to-do lists. That's getting really difficult to say. Anyway, but my point is, I think a lot of people either don't actually really write everything down they need to do, or they might write one and then not check back in with it. But I'm talking about having some sort of mechanism where the second anything comes into your head that you know you need to do, write it down. No matter how long you think it's going to take, no matter if it's something that can be done in 5 minutes or like a project that you want done by the end of this time, it is so important to have everything down, because when you get a spare 15 minutes, 20 minutes, hour, 2 hours, that is when you can just look at this list and go, just before I've got to start getting ready to go out tonight, or just before I'm going to go to bed, I've got ready a little bit earlier than I thought, is there anything I can quickly accomplish? And quite often it is silly things that we forget to do. Cancelling appointments, making a haircut appointment, moving something around, whatever it is, things that normally take less than 5 minutes that just start to add up. But because we never write them down, we never remember them at the time that we've actually got a free 5 minutes. So in summary, like I said, this is nothing new under the sun. This isn't going to make any PhD books or anything like that. Write down absolutely everything that you want to accomplish. Give your brain, your subconscious and yourself that feeling of being productive, physically ticking things off. Because what you'll find amazing is, if you have this list, sometimes you will finish it, because sometimes there just isn't anything else to do, depending on what your life setup is, depending on if you're running a business. Or for me, for example, as a student, take my YouTube and Instagram out, but for example, if I've filmed 2 YouTube videos for the week, I haven't got an assignment due, and I've filmed or posted all my Instagram reels, sometimes there is just nothing more for me to do, and that's okay. We don't want a life where we don't sit down ever. You need a break, but you feel a lot less guilty having that break when you go, there is nothing else I could be doing more productive with this time, enjoying myself. That is what this time is for. So do yourself a favour, be kind to yourself, put that list together, look at it couple times a day, every day. If you can look at it first thing in the morning, lunch, and then maybe an hour or 2 before bed, just in case you've missed anything off that you need to get done. There's nothing worse than that feeling of, lying into bed, switch the light off, bang, your eyes open, oh, I didn't do this, and you need to get up and go and do it, or you stress about it all night. Have a list, have a process of when you check in and everything like that. Tick them off, see how it works for you. Thank you for making it all the way to the end. I do appreciate you guys who stick around. If you did find any of it useful, please do consider liking and subscribing. I drop 2 new videos every week. As always, if you have anything else to say, comment below. My socials are in the bio, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care, guys.